I'm Chill, and you are reviewing. It's New Mutants, the book that has crossed issue number 12. The movie, which we'll talk about maybe in 5 minutes after I'm done talking about this comic book, let's start there since I just clicked live and I reckon that a bunch of you guys are going to be watching this part on the replay. Beginning with the book, pow. Think I don't know my editing by now? Shh. We start off with the cover, beautifully done, Michael Del Mundo, and we get to this page, not so beautifully well done. We get that first panel over here that's going to set the mood, it's going to tell us it's a Nova Roma. We remember this place from 2 issues ago. Then we meet these characters who really don't add much. Their dialogue, they like to say that we need to get back to let the senator know that there's been a breach. That could be explained in photos, in pictures, sorry, in the later part of the comic, which they actually do. The suspense of oh my god, who's behind me and all that stuff for these unknown characters is useless because where is it? Because on the other side is none other than this villain here. Click. I'm clicking and it's not working. You can't. It's live. Anyways, what happens is the villain. What was her name? Her and her monsters show up and kind of eat them up. I think throwaway lines for extras like this. It's not a movie. A movie that's 10 seconds, and boom, they're back. I mean, this is the part where I would start the review over again if I wasn't live, because I stuttered. But in a movie, 10 seconds of a movie is like a bit of the movie. But if we're reading a comic book, that's a whole page dedicated to nobodies, which is a problem. Let me put it back on me. It's a problem for me that a whole page was dedicated to bad guys, because that's 5% of the book right there. And that's another 5% of the book right there. This image of her monsters wrecking everything. There's another part of the book that's kind of slow, where I would have preferred the words. It's my review. I can do whatever I want. When we skip over here to the bit where Glob is talking to what's her face, this is so extremely slow. It's her talking to him. She sits next to him. He gazes off. He feeds the birds. He stands up. She stands up. Puts her hand over him. And then they finally do a complete hug. There's so much times in this review where they're just drawing nothing. It's not much action. It's just nothing. Hi, Rockmac. Rockmac, you are consistently in these. What parts of the, if you want to share, what parts of the internet are you from? People Lanarts. Yeah, baby. People, I'm guessing you're enjoying the series? The new format on your channel. Well, you like the live stuff? Yeah, I've never seen your name before, people. Unless you changed your name recently or something. But thank you for enjoying the new stuff. I'm not afraid to go live nowadays. Shoot, where was I? Back to the book. Share screen. Oh, I gotta get rid of your comment. Hi, Fenrir, what's going on? Reading this book. So we continue with my boy Victor Anoli. He's serving drinks, which means he's old enough to serve drinks. But this is Krakoa, so the standard rules and age and stuff don't really matter. Then we go to Trinary. Let's zoom in even further. You know what I'm looking for. You know what I want. I want that dot. You see that dot right there? Scroll, scroll, scroll. That dot right there. Usually it's like knots, the last few times I've been seeing her. But that dot is what distinguishes her from Danny Moonstar. Yeah, she's got the braids, but so does Danny. But that little bit tells me that's who that is. Very, very much appreciated that it was there. It's like pin the tail on the donkey. There's pin the dot on the trinary, or trinary, however you say her name. And it's right there. It's consistently there. It's a little bit higher up here, but we're not gonna be too picky. But for artists, that's where the dot is. Okay, so she talks and she has the solution. She's actually the hero of this whole entire comic book. This is Docs. We know about New York and all the arrivals. Amongst the arrivals here are Anoli and Blob. Where were they? What were they doing? Next page. Show up. The goons show up. They kick down the door, and these are the racists. Now, the dialogue here is extremely impressive because he acts just the way a racist would act. He actually thinks it's their fault. Cut over to this part where you see this family. This is Annie Haynes, and I got a little bit of a problem with Annie Haynes. Annie Haynes is 32 years old, and she's a mother of two, but she's a mutant. She didn't say the children are mutant. They said Annie over here. Annie is a mutant. The problem is, your mutant power is supposed to ignite or start. Your mutant power is supposed to start when you're a teenager. She's 32. There was a time when there was a decimation, and 198 mutants were left, and Annie Haynes was not one of those 198 mutants. So for her to be a mutant now, which that would mean she would have to have activated her powers in the last, let's say, 2 years, because it's Marvel, when AVX happens. So you're telling me when she was 30 years old, her mutant powers just like that? That's pretty old. Like even Matthew Malloy, I think he was a college student, right, when he got his powers to spark up. Questions I ask because I pay attention to things like this, and maybe there is an actual answer to that. And if you want to prove me wrong, that's what the chat for is on the side, or just leave a comment on it. Continue. Oh, let me switch the screens for you also. There. Continuing, we get the racist that I was telling you about. How he said it was all their fault. He said that they picked a fight with him. His answer, where was it? Where was it? Where was it? I wish I would have read the book like right before, so I knew where the lines were. He goes, "This is how you plan to usher in the new world order." He sounds, ooh, by shutting down any press outlet that dares to criticize the mutants, by blaming the actions of a few lunatics on us. We only report. We don't tell people to go out there and attack others. We don't condone murder, is what he says. Oh, he's so frustratingly wicked and conniving. There's also this one here. This is the biggest one. He says, "You drew the battle lines and you set the stage when you escalated the war, and you expected us not to report on that." So what they didn't do is what he's saying that they did about developed new medicines, which then you held hostage unless we accepted this new world where you can dictate policy. Using human lives as bargaining chips. That's the big line that he tried to use on us. The problem with that logic is that at no point did the mutants actually use human lives as bargaining chips. Human lives were going to be increased by length of 5 years, or were going to be made healthy. There was a mental health drug and a physical health drug. All they were saying, all they were waging, was ways to make your life better, never to take away from you. There's no -5 drugs if you 5 years of your life drug if you don't want to. Yeah, he's like a pure racist. Ed Brisson had nailed this character to the core. It boils my blood even talking about it now. I'm looking through the book like I didn't have the Comixology open. Share screen and transfer over. So what happens here is Glob Herman is going to level up. Uppercut punches the dude, and he cuts a promo on him. All my life, you can see, you already know where it's going. You don't even need to read the words. All my life, I've had to deal with people like you, blah, 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 blah. This is a positive because it's about damn time I start understanding why Ed Brisson actually likes this Glob Herman guy. Glob Herman is gotta be his favorite character at this point. Who are we fooling? Like, Glob Herman right now has been in the Dead Man Logan book. Glob Herman has been in the New Mutants book appearing. What else did Ed Brisson do? Like, could have sworn there's one more thing Ed Brisson just did that he put Glob Herman in. Did he do Age of X-Men? Whatever. Well, this is the book where we actually give Glob Herman some backstory and some love. And like some backbone. He says to them, "I don't care if they throw me in a hole for killing a human. If you so dares continue this website, then I'm going to kill you and suffer the consequences of it." So he's putting his foot down. If this was real, and if that was all that he said, and that threat was it, I'm pretty sure they would have to take him up on that threat, and the guy would continue posting. But the solution to the problem that Danny Moonstar does when she, where is it? It is right about here, where they explain how, where is it? I'm sorry guys, I'm bad at this because I should have read the thing first. The plan was for Danny Moonstar to actually put a chip inside their computer where now if you post the mutant's whereabouts, you also get your name linked to the thing. So all they're doing is treating you mutant haters the same way that you treat the mutants. That's such a diplomatic, like a peaceful, non-violent solution to this problem. Danny Moonstar, by help of Trinity, solved this issue so beautifully, and Glob doesn't have to go to jail because, as you saw, the website is offline. And then, what did you say here? The Age of X? Yeah, the Age of X Man thing. Was that what it was called? The Age of X? That was it? I didn't read. Well, there was Next Gen and Prisoner X and the Nightcrawler one and Marvelous X Men, right? There were so many of those things. And they thought people would read it. And then they put them in a trade and expected people to buy it. And then just completely ignored all of it. And it's never coming back. Everyone who wasted their money on that, I want you guys to know, it's not returning. Now we go to the rest of the book, where this is the part now, click, click. This is the part now that they could have, it's a whole other setup page. It's Nova Roma on the top left. It's the city being evacuated, or not evacuated, but extinguished. Like, they're all dying. There's got one guy kept left alive. And this is where she shows her little evil side, where she's got this cruel bug that can suck your blood and eats you up, but it also keeps you alive enough. It is vicious. This I could have done with those 2 pages earlier. Were really for nothing, because this is where we get everything. She wants to know where the mutants are. Now, again, this is just a whole bunch of artwork of him sitting down talking to magic, and I wish I had action. You know what I would have had? I would have had this scene of him talking, and he could be like, I hate those mutant haters. And as he says that, an image of her on the side pulls up. And you could see like text boxes of Glob talking over there, but images of the destruction. So at least I'd be getting my action there. You could have combined that. But yeah, Glob talks about his dad and how his dad hated mutants his whole life. He grew up to hate them, and guess what happens? He becomes a mutant, and all of a sudden he's shunned. And Mom takes him over and drops him off at Professor X's. That is the story of Glob Herman. You know what it reminds me of? Joshua Foley, Elixir's story. Elixir was also one of those mutant haters. Actually, he was on a mission with the Reavers. Was it the Reavers or Crucifiers or whatever the hell they were called? But those evil people who hated mutants and wanted to kill them. And then his mutant power kicks in and he can heal. He didn't turn gold just yet. That would come later. I think that's because of Wither. But boom, Joshua Foley. The story is similar to Glob Herman's story. Yeah, it was pointless. So that's the comic book review, right? So that was all fun. Let's talk the movie though, because the movie I saw a couple weeks ago, didn't bother to review it. But hey, we're talking about the New Mutants comic. Let's talk about the New Mutants movie. Was it good? 2 thumbs down. It tried to keep sort of continuity. Spoilers, by the way. It tried to keep continuity with freaking the X-Men of Fox by mentioning Essex Corp, because that's who that little school was for. It was for Essex Corp, Mr. Sinister school. We don't actually see Mr. Sinister, but potentially it would be building Mr. Sinister as a threat. Maybe when they escape, we're to assume, Fox was continuing that these New Mutants would join Professor X and join Jean and Nightcrawler and Storm, who's not dark enough. So I'll give it credit for being world building, but it is a world that is dead. And let's leave it in the past. You know what I hated the most though? Lockheed was Ileana's dragon. And there was a cool moment, visually, where Lockheed becomes alive and it's flying and it looks like, whoa, we're getting Lockheed in a movie. But something in the back of my mind said, this is not true to continuity. I cannot possibly enjoy this moment knowing that Lockheed is actually a property of Shadowcat, of Kate Pride. Thumbs down. It was all shot in that one setting, which kind of got boring. The beginning of the movie, the intro that's available on YouTube, that was Danny Moonstar running away from the demon bear. That was alright, I guess. You say they always give references of one of the best X-Men bad guys, but they don't show him. Of course they would fail. You like Mr. Sinister? I dislike him, but he's also a villain. The point is to dislike him. I mean, he's called Sinister. I do think of how sinister he is, cheaply. But he's never really done anything special in books that I've read. And I've been an X-Men fan reading the book since like 2002-ish. Wasn't Lockheed an alien dragon or something? Yup, it was property of. It was an agent of Sword, and Shadowcat didn't even know it the whole time. And then they actually talked to each other. And I could have sworn he could talk, but if you read an X-Men comic now, he can't talk. Emma Frost had to read his mind. So that's the thing. Did they take away his ability to talk? Or am I imagining that he could talk? You guys remember him talking, right? It was Astonishing X-Men when he was outed as an agent of Sword, and he's a space dragon, and he's been spying on Kate, and he showed up at her wedding, didn't he? And all of a sudden he doesn't talk anymore. I know I'm not imagining that part. That dude could talk, but they're changing Lockheed. Jerry Duggan should know better. The editor should know better, but I don't expect editors to edit anymore here at Marvel. Okay, Magic's voice was amazing. I'll even give the Kentucky kid, Sam Guthrie, that actor did a good ass job, and I know he's from Stranger Things, right? Good for him. If we could keep two characters and kind of use them, repurpose them, not so much recast, but repurpose them and put them in the MCU, that would be good. I'll take those two. But I wouldn't keep light skinned Sunspot, and I wouldn't keep Wolfsbane or Danny Moonstar. There it is. There's the New Mutants movie talk. Thanks for watching the video. We struggled in the beginning, but made it through. Next time, what I will do is I will pull up the Comixology and kind of like filter through the pages and make sure that all of the pages are completely loaded before I do this again. But we learn as we go. So one of you guys said you were appreciating the new format, right? This dude right here, Pippi Longstocking. Thank you for appreciating me. Thumbs up the video. I'm chill. You're not. And broadcast. Ooh, somebody said something. I came to drop a like. Yo, K-Dot. This is what I want to do with you. Banners. Boom. I want to do a stream where I ask questions like this. Like, does Hulk poop radiate gamma? Are the clippers of the Dora Milaje use vibranium? Like, I want to do a whole list. I actually have, let me scroll to the bottom. I've got 33 of them that I want to do with you. If you want to join me on a stream, we can do it right now. I'll tweet you. I'll find you on Twitter. K-Dot. And we can talk there. That's what I want to do with you. So everyone look out for that video. Read more of your comments. Should I go see it? Mark Stevens. I don't think you should go see it. But it is a comic book movie, and you know that's our genre, right? That's what we want to see. You're gonna see it regardless because you're just a comic book fan like that. So if you want me, no, the answer is no. That's what my answer to you is. But I respect your decision to go see whatever you want to see. Because you know, one guy's trash is another man's treasure. Dude, Sunspot is Brazilian. Him having light skin is actually a bit okay. Yes, if we're talking about a Brazilian who's light skinned, but in the comics, when he was introduced, his skin was dark. I know there's a little bit of comics where his skin is light, but if he's dark in the comics, make him dark in the movies. That's all I'm saying. I'm down to do it. Yes. But like that's a thing with that's a thing that happens when they change the race, the skin color, whether it's sometimes it's a white character to a black character, like the editor, the Daily Planet that Lawrence Fishburne plays. That dude's all of a sudden a black guy. I don't like it going that way. I don't like it going the other way. Just make it comic book accurate. If you want to have some black people in your movie or light white people in your movie, then find a comic book character who happens to be that character. You know what I mean? And then do it. That's all I'm saying about that. No, I'm consistent both ways. I don't really have a preference of it, skin color or something. I thought he was just tanned. Dude is dark. Where do I gotta get up? No, I got Comixology actually. I will show you an issue of New Mutants where Sunspot is on the cover of, and you will see clearly that the skin color of this dude is dark. Click New Mutants. My books, and then I'm gonna end the stream right after this. I know I'm going long because I tried to sign out a few while ago. Boom. So everyone, thanks for joining me here. New Mutants, issue 12. Bro, why don't I just Google? Oh, you're not even looking at the screen. Sorry, guys. The New Mutants Sunspot images. That's his skin color there. He's a darkie. That's a lighty. That's him using his powers. But there's a difference between good and bad. Oh, look at this. We need to talk about the whitewashing of Sunspot is the headline. It's been done like this. I prefer it like this. I mean, you can always argue he is dark. It's just the light from the phone that's illuminating his skin color. You could say that, but I don't. This is his origins. This is what he used to always look like, you know. So don't. I could have done that the whole time. I don't like that. Yeah, man. It's not just stand. Fenrir says, "Yeah, it's never good when the gender or race swap characters insult the fans. It's insult to the characters, it's insult to the creators." Who was mad about this? Bob McLeod's the guy who made this comic book, and he was like, "Nah, not my New Mutants." It's possible to make new side characters of different skin tones and genders in these films. These films do their own continuity, so just make new side characters, villains, and heroes. But I don't want them to be like their own continuity. Let's just forgive it. That's like the Miles Morales thing. It's in the Ultimate Universe, and that's where Peter dies, and that's where he becomes that. Now it works there. But I want all my movies to be together, and it's not like I have other movies. Like it's not like comics where I've got so many different comics I can afford to have one side universe thing. There's only going to be a select few amount of superhero movies a year, so I don't have the flexibility that you have. I just want accuracy as much as possible. Like we've been having comic book movies forever and X-Men movies forever. This is the first time we got the Dragon Lockheed in appearing in that movie, and it was done incorrectly. And those who love comic book accuracy, isn't that kind of what I just said before I read your comment? If they are received well in the films, then they'll get transitioned into comics, just like Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn was an animated show. Trivia question, which I knew the answer to, but you are right. I'm like, K-Dot, I'm always in your chat, and you're in my chat. This feels weird. Everyone subscribe to SSJK.Sanctum's YouTube channel for more entertainment. People says, bro, my girl is Brazilian, and she has very white skin. So, yes, kind of normal. Yeah, not that it's not normal or not, but Roberto de Castro is not that color in the comic books. In most comic books, there are times where they drew him light, and it was incorrect to do so. But since he is, and yes, Brazilians come in light skin, not denying that one, I'm saying that he is not that color in the comics, so I don't want him that color in the movies. Likewise for like every other character who I can think of. Well, you got a Brazilian girlfriend too? Shoot. What about you? I'm now the viewer and not the one streaming. And now you're not the viewer, and I'm not the one streaming either, because that's the end of that. Thank you everyone for joining me. Ciao.